Tell you about an organization called Women on the 20s. Women on the 20s is a not-for-profit organization aiming actually to compel historic change by convincing former President Barack Obama and the Secretary of the Treasury to put a woman on the face of the $20 note. And we're here talking about the fight with this organization, or the organization is having, in making this change. And joining us to tell what obstacles and challenges they're currently facing is Barbara Ortiz Howard, and she joins us to talk a little bit more about this. And so, Barbara, good to have you. And yeah, amidst all of this is going on, we're still glad that you can be with us.
Oh, it's quite a pleasure to be with you, Pastor Daren, and have the opportunity to still commemorate and celebrate Women's History Month, and celebrate and commemorate the historic campaign that Women on 20s ran in 2015, which actually did succeed in compelling Secretary Jake Lew at the time to announce that Harriet Tubman would be on the $20 bill. After a 10-month discussion with them, they wanted to put a woman on the $10 bill, and we were like, you could put women on the $10 bill, but we're women on 20s, right? So we want to be on the most well-used bill, the most known bill around the world. 2/3 of American money is used outside of the country, cash, and so it's an important symbol. And we discussed it with them for a long period of time. They had a hashtag, the new 10, and we were like, 10's fine, we want a 20. And of course, they ran straight into our friend, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who came out with the Hamilton play and was like, wait a minute, save Hamilton, Women on 20s. So we had great boosts from that. And the public too saw the importance of being on this bill, which is so widely used, and to remove basically the slave trader for the freedom fighter, Harriet Tubman. So I think it was unanimous among not only the public, but historians and people who are well-versed in American history were counseling the president and the Secretary of the Treasury to proceed with the changes that our campaign had advocated for. So we were very pleased when in April of 2016, Secretary Lew not only said that he would change the 20, but the 10, with being on the reverse side, having a vignette of 5 women who were active in the suffragist movement, including people like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, Sojourner Truth, and those women. And then on the reverse side of the 5, which we totally didn't expect, he was going to have Eleanor Roosevelt, Marian Anderson, and Martin Luther King featured, at the Lincoln Memorial for those historic events, commemorating those events. So that was a trifecta. This was the change we were so anxious and so wanting, and here we saw it. And Jack Lew started working on those changes and selected a portrait of Harriet Tubman that I think came from probably their archives of secret photographs, because there weren't that many photographs of Tubman in her younger age. But when she was serving in the U.S. Army, being a general, leading the troops to free people in the South, slaves in the South, and they had this picture picked out and they were going to use it. It must have been, I think, from their days in
it was actually from their archives. Yeah. And they were actually able to present it. And we know a little bit later on that the new administration kind of put a hold to that. So how did that affect what's going on with you right now, given the fact that there's this hold that's been placed?
It was rather telegraphed the first week in the Oval Office when the new president hung a picture of Andrew Jackson in the Oval Office, what that message was intended to be. And, we weren't going to fool ourselves, but for us, it was still very important to continue to advocate for the change, to continue to celebrate everything about Harriet Tubman since the time of the announcement that she'd be on the 20. There's been a plethora of documentaries, artwork, movies, songs, plays, statues, artwork, murals popping up in all kinds of locations. I was driving in DC. I pulled up, there's a big mural in the middle, like just popped up, a huge mural of Harriet Tubman, the beautiful mural at the Visitor Center in Cambridge, Maryland, that whole center opening up, the Visitor Center, the Tubman Visitor Center, telling the history of her life, and the beautiful mural there with her hand outreached to the people is so inspiring, and it's inspired people. This change has brought hope to so many people, and the current administration in denial or whatever repression that they want to be in, but this is the will of the people, and it will prevail.
We believe that. Before we go, talk a little bit about your fight. How does the fight continue, given the fact of coronavirus affecting everybody? How are you able to keep the fight going, and what do you want people to know?
Well, before this was the crisis that it was, we had the concept to have just point out that around the world there are so many women on their currency, on other countries' currency, and so we thought that, and there's so many countries, we don't even have a month long enough to showcase everyone, but every day we've been issuing the daily dose of dough. And it's kind of been a great exercise because it tells inspiring stories of women who were critical in the achievement of their country's independence from colonial powers, whether it was in Indonesia or Kazakhstan or in Malawi. These women rose to the front and they organized the other women in the country to have freedom, because women are freedom fighters. And these other countries have recognized these women, and women also were recognized for their achievements in great things in the literature or music, and whether that was to write about in the Ukraine, a woman, Leslie Petrovic, she wrote about the imperialism of Russia, and the other countries, where women have been at the forefront of the suffrage movement. New Zealand, 1893, women gained suffrage. And long before England or the United States. We always think of ourselves as being the center of the universe, when so many other countries are far more advanced and progressive in thinking than we are. So that's why we proceeded with that. And if you want to think about something other than the coronavirus, you can check out the daily dose of dough, and just look at these women. There are movies. There's a movie about a woman, Curmudgeon Datka, who lived to the age of 96. She ruled this whole territory between Russia and China, and she led her people in the most courageous way. And it's just a breathtaking movie of that countryside. And I recommend people order it on their, add it to their list. So we recommend all those kinds of things, and at the same time celebrate Women's History Month.
Well, we are celebrating Women's History Month. Barbara Ortiz Howard from Women20s, thank you so much for joining us and being with us here on Open. Certainly, if you want to find out more information about Women20s, you can go to their website, women20s.org. And we encourage you to stay with us. We've got more Open coming up.